What was the topic covered? Yes, girls, just give me a brief outline about yesterday's class. What have you learned in yesterday's class? You remember or you forgot?
EDTA method and problems, ma'am.
Yeah, EDTA for the estimation of hardness of water, and you have done some numericals. Okay, so you just have to be thorough with the procedures, stepwise uh, procedure for finding out the hardness of water. Okay, now coming to the next topic, that is boiler troubles. Okay, now what are these boiler troubles? Now, what is the reason for this? Now, what is the fundamental reason for this estimation of hardness of water by EDTA method? What is the purpose of this? I already told you.
To check whether the water is hard, ma'am, because hard water can't be used for uh, all purposes, ma'am.
Very good. Very good. Okay. As Vatsalya said, hard water cannot be used for different kinds of applications, right? So you just have to check whether the hard water, how much amount of hardness is there in the given water sample by using the EDTA experiment. Okay, so that is what we have learned in yesterday's class. Yeah. Okay. Now we'll see what will happen if the hard water is used in boilers. Okay, so those are your boiler troubles. So what will happen when you are using hard water in the boilers? What will happen? What is actually boiler? What is actually boiler? What is boiler, girls? Why do we use the boiler? No idea.
No, ma'am.
Okay, boiler is used for steam generation. At least now you got an idea.
Yes,
If you
ma'am.
remember in old days, okay, in old days, like you used to have a copper like thing. Okay, I'll just share this image. Okay, where we used to boil the water by using such kind of setup. Is it shared, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
This one, this kind of thing, if you remember, maybe your grandparents, if you go to your villages, you might be coming across this kind of apparatus for boiling water, right? Okay, you just use the coal for generation of hot water, right? Okay, so this is nothing but a boiler which is used for generation of steam. Okay, so this will be of bigger capacity, and you have left side, if you see, there are different images. Okay, different kinds of setups, like here you have pressure valves, so different kinds of attachments to this in the case of industries. Okay, so these are the ones which are used, equipments used for generation of steam in industries. Fine. So what are the troubles which we encounter if you are using the hard water, if you are using the hard water for steam generation? Okay. Okay, so that is the question here. So these are called as the boiler troubles. So the problems what you face when you are using hard water in the steam generator, that is your boiler. Okay, so these are those problems. So you can just list out as scales, sludges, caustic embrittlement, priming, foaming, and you also have other problems like boiler corrosion. Okay, so but that is not there in the syllabus. So we just have these boiler troubles. So we'll just go one after the other. First, we'll start with the scales and sludges. Okay, so scales and sludges, how these are formed in the boiler vessel. So first thing, like when you are using the water for steam generation, Okay, so the water is boiled continuously. Is it not so? Yes or no?
Yes,
When
ma'am.
you are using water for steam generation, it will be boiled continuously. Okay. So if the water used in the boiler is hard, okay, if the water used in boiler is hard, so that means the water is containing high amount of salts in it. Is it not so? If the water sample used is hard, okay, if that is not treated before it is being fed to the boiler, then it would definitely contain high amount of the salts within it. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So when you start boiling this water, when you start boiling this water, what will happen to the concentration of the salts present in this water? So on boiling continuously, the concentration of the salts, okay, present in the water will slowly increase. Like it reaches, like a point is reached where you can see almost the concentration of dissolved salts will progressively reaches the saturation point. Okay, initially you can see these salts will start dissolving, but at some point of time it reaches saturation. Okay, now at this point of time the dissolved salts, saturation means what? Like if you just take a beaker, okay, just take a water in the beaker, and if you go on adding salt or sugar, okay, whatever is the solute there. So what is saturation point? The point at which no more amount of the solute will go into the solvent. That is what you have learned, right? Okay. Now, initially, when you're boiling the water, which actually contains high amount of salts in it, it starts dissolving, but that reaches saturation point of at certain stage. Now, after then, if you see, the salts will not go into the water. That means the salts will not get dissolved in the water, but rather these will be separated as precipitates. So whatever the excess salts are there, those will be precipitated out, and you know what will happen? These precipitated salts will slowly settle on the inner walls of the boiler plate. Just now you have seen the boiler, right? So the inner walls of the boiler plate will be completely covered with these salts which are precipitated out. Okay, so the precipitation will take place in two ways, that is sludges and scales. Now, how do you differentiate sludges and scales? So, sludges are those which are soft, loose, and slimy precipitates, whereas scales are hard, thick deposits. Okay, so whatever might be the nature of the precipitated salts, but you have two ways of precipitation. Is this point clear, girls? Why the scales and sludges are formed inside the boilers? That is the point of question. Yes, understood why you are getting the precipitates of these salts? Understood, girls?
Ma'am, on
Yes,
boiling, will the temporary hardness salts will
Yeah,
evaporate? No, ma'am.
yeah, those
Then,
will evaporate. Okay, but you are being left over with the permanent hardness causing salts, no?
okay, ma'am.
So what about those salts if they are not treated? Like just consider, imagine that you have a boiler, you have borewell water. Okay, for steam generation purpose means you will be using the sea water like Nagarjuna Sagar project. Okay, and then you have the Srisalem project. There we can't like where you have those power plants for the generation of steam. Yes or no? So which water is used for the steam generation? Definitely you will be using the seawater. So seawater means definitely it contains all the salts in it. Okay, it's not treated. You are not treating the water before it is being fed to the boiler. Okay, so understood what I am telling?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is the reason, the boiler feed water should have the following composition. Like if the hardness is there, that should be below zero point 0.2 ppm. That should be below zero point 0.2 ppm. If alkalinity is present, if caustic alkalinity is associated with this boiler feed water, that means due to the presence of hydroxide ions, it should be in the range 0.15 ppm to 0.45 ppm. Okay, and not only that, the water should be free from dissolved gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide, because these would result in the boiler corrosion. That is why we are trying to avoid the boiler corrosion. So we are trying to supply the water which is free from the gases, dissolved gases, especially carbon dioxide, because that will lead to the mm, extensive boiler corrosion. Okay, so there are certain um, points to be remembered for the composition of the boiler feed water. Like if you are not following this particular composition of water sample, then we have to come across the scales and sludges. Okay, so those excess impurities, what we are talking about in the boiler feed water, will usually cause the problems like your scales, sludges, and caustic embrittlement. Okay, so we'll just go through the sludges now. So sludge is nothing but, as I said, it is a soft, loose, slimy, and non-sticky. Okay, this is nothing but it's a precipitate only. Okay, we were actually talking about the two types of precipitate. This is first type. So the description of a sludge would be loose, soft, slimy, and non-sticky. Okay, now this is having a special nature. Okay, so the sludge impurities. What kind of salts will cause the sludge impurities? Usually, the sludge impurities are due to the presence of salts like magnesium carbonate, magnesium chloride, calcium chloride, magnesium sulfate. So these are the salts which actually results in the sludge deposits. Okay. Now the special thing about the sludges are these sludge impurities, whatever you're calling as the sludge impurities, these are formed at comparatively colder regions of the boiler, and they'll collect in the area where the flow rate is slow. Okay. Now, which are those colder regions? Okay, you might be getting a doubt. Like when we are talking about the steam boiler, that means the entire thing would be definitely hot. Then, where is the point of this colder regions? Yeah, definitely. The colder regions means comparatively colder portions of boiler, like something like you have pipes, valves. Okay, uh, so like where you have less circulation of this hot water, those regions you can treat them as the comparatively colder portions of the boiler. Okay, so there is the possibility of the sludge impurities getting deposited. Now once these precipitates, okay, like wherever you have the sludge deposits, what will happen to the flow rate? Flow rate definitely comes down, right? Okay, yes or no? Wherever we have the deposits, okay, there the uh, flow rate of the steam would be definitely slow. Okay, now what are the reasons for the formation of sludges? Okay, so the reasons would be what? The reason is mainly the dissolved salts which are more soluble in hot water and less in cold water. Okay, so depending upon the solubility of the precipitates formed, you are explaining the reason for the sludge formation. So, what is the reason for the sludge formation? Because of the difference in the solubilities. Because these sludge impurities are readily soluble in the hot water, but they are less soluble in the cold water. So, therefore, they get deposited in these regions of the boiler as sludges. Okay. Any doubts still here? Any doubts still here?
No, ma'am.
Okay, what are the disadvantages with the sludge formation? Okay, so what will, how it is going to affect the efficiency of the boiler? Like suppose if I talk about the sludges, these are actually bad conductors of heat. Okay, when I say bad conductors of heat means like like whatever fuel you are supplying for the generation of steam. Okay, so you have to supply it for a longer time, and not only that, since these are bad conductors of heat, it results in the wastage of heat. So longer time you have to give the supply the fuel, and you have to heat the water for a longer period of time, so you are going to waste your fuel, you are going to waste your energy. Okay, so those are the drawbacks with the sludge deposits. Okay, now another problem with the sludge is like in some regions, as I said, you have the sludge formation. Okay, like those regions what we call as the pipe connections, plug openings, gauge glass connections. Okay, so these are the regions where you can see the excessive sludge formation. Okay, why excessive sludge formation? Because those are the portions of the boiler where less amount of heat is, or less amount of like those you can call as the colder portions. So therefore you have excess deposition of the sludge formation there. So ultimately these will lead to the choking of pipes. Okay, because the circulation of the steam will be less here, so therefore that would result in choking of pipes. Choking means what? The pipes will get blocked because of the excess deposition of the sludge formation. Okay, so thus efficiency of the boiler will come down. Okay, and sometimes okay, sludge deposits are not so harm as scale deposits. Okay, because in the case of scale deposits, it sometimes leads to the boiler explosion even. That risk is less in the case of the sludge deposits. Okay, but it need to be monitored from time to time. And then, how do you avoid the sludge prevention? How do you prevent sludge formation? So there are two reasons. One is by using the soft water, right? So soft water which is actually free from salts like magnesium carbonate, magnesium chloride, calcium chloride, magnesium sulfate. So which are the salts which are responsible for the sludge deposits? So that water must be freed from all those impurities. So the simple solution for this would be usage of soft water. Am I getting the point, girls? Are you able to understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Explain again, ma'am.
Okay, which one you want me to explain? Disadvantages of sludge or prevention of sludge formation?
Prevention, ma'am.
Sorry, prevention. Okay. So now that we have understood what are the reasons, okay, for the sludge formation, and then we have even seen what are the disadvantages of the sludge formation, then how to avoid the sludge formation? The only solution is soft water. Like instead of using hard water, if you are using soft water which is free from salts, then definitely we can prevent the sludge formation. Now understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now another important process is called as blow down operation. Okay. I'll just share you blow down operation. You have a pipe at the bottom of the boiler so that time to time if you are trying to remove the excess amount of the salts formed, okay, then you can avoid the sludge deposition. I'll just show you the something like this, girls. Okay. Imagine that this is your boiler. At the bottom you have an opening. Okay. Can you see this, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
See what will happen if you are boiling the water continuously in the boiler. So this will be containing high amount of salts within it, right? Okay. If you're uh, trying to extract this water out of this vessel from time to time, like whenever the concentration of dissolved salts is high, if you're trying to remove or if you're trying to collect these salts with the tap which is situated at the bottom, this is said to be blow down. Okay, so what you're trying to prevent the excess sludge depositions in the water. I hope I'm clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just only you're trying to remove the salts formation. Okay, you're trying to remove the excess salts formation from time to time. So that process is called as blow down operation. From the bottom, you have a facility by which you can remove the excess salts. So that is called as the blow down operation. So sometimes it will be asked, like in case if you have 2 marks answers, what is blow down operation? So you just have to draw the diagram and explain the blow down operation. So these are the two ways. Now next, yeah, till now it is fine, girls. So we'll move on to the next one. That is, those are your scales. Now, as I said earlier, scales are hard, thick deposits, okay, which are formed on the inner walls of the boiler. And not only that, these scales will be sticking to the inner walls firmly. Okay, so it is like very difficult to remove even with the chisel and hammer. Okay, now these scales, so these scales are hard thick deposits. Okay, you can see the diagram here. So actually these are the sludge impurities. Like these will be suspended in the water. I'll just share another this one. In this you have a better view of it. Okay, I think it is shared, right? This is the sludge in the boiler. Can you see this left side sludge deposits? So these are the loose deposits which are suspended in the water, boiler feed water. Now whereas these are the scale deposits. Okay, you can see the scale will be getting adhered to the inner walls of the boiler like this. So that means it is very difficult for the removal of scales. Okay, even with the help of chisel and hammer also you cannot remove it. Now, what are the reasons for the formation of scales? So there would be some reasons, right? What are those reasons for the scale formation? Okay. Now scale formation, four, five reasons are there. We'll just list out one after the other. You can see, first thing is the scales are formed because of the decomposition of calcium bicarbonate. Okay, because of decomposition of calcium bicarbonate. So what will happen? Calcium bicarbonate at high temperature decomposes to calcium carbonate, and this is actually an insoluble salt which is formed in the boiler. Okay, in the form of scales, it get deposited in the low pressure boilers. So remember, the first reason what you're going to mention for the formation of scales. So we are just listing out what are the reasons for the scale formation. Then we'll go for the disadvantages. So reasons for the scale formation, first point is decomposition of calcium bicarbonate. So when the calcium bicarbonate is decomposed, it ends up in the formation of calcium carbonate scales. Okay. Now second point is hydrolysis, sorry, decomposition of calcium sulfate. Okay, now calcium sulfate, once again it is a hard type of scale and it is very difficult to remove. Okay, and this is uh, okay, that is the second type. So we are just listing out the salts. And third one is hydrolysis of magnesium salts. Okay, now magnesium salts on hydrolysis is giving rise to magnesium hydroxide and HCl. Now, magnesium hydroxide is a scale deposit. Now, this is not so hard as that of your calcium sulfate, but still it is considered to be a scale only. Okay, and like sometimes with the help of a wire brush or scraper, you can remove this type of scale. Now, last reason is presence of silica. So silica, when present in water in the form of calcium or magnesium silicates, these also will get deposited as the scales. Okay, and these are also very hard type of scales, very difficult to remove. Okay, so what are the four reasons for the scale formation? What are the four reasons for the scale formation? Quickly, calcium bicarbonate decomposition. What does it give? Calcium
Calcium
bicarbonate on
carbonate.
decomposition carbonate. So this is one type of scale. Then deposition of calcium sulfate type of scales. Now in the case of calcium sulfate, the solubility in water decreases with increase in temperature, and this will actually get deposited on the surface of boiler as a hard type of scales. And this type of scales, calcium sulfate scales, are most commonly seen in high pressure boilers. Okay, whereas calcium carbonate in low pressure and calcium sulfate in high pressure boilers. This point you have to remember. Now, third reason is hydrolysis of magnesium salts. Magnesium chloride on hydrolysis will give you magnesium hydroxide. This is again a hard type, like a scale which is formed, not so hard as your calcium sulfate. And silica present in small quantities, this also will get deposited as calcium silicate, magnesium silicate. Okay, so this is another reason for the scale formation. Now, what are the disadvantages with the scales? Okay, so what are the disadvantages with the scales? First thing is these are also poor thermal conductors. Okay, like you have like sludges, even scales are also poor thermal conductors. So whatever the fuel you are using, that gets wasted because you have to use the, like you have to boil the water for longer time, so therefore the wastage of energy, wastage of heat, and wastage of fuel. So all this would be the first point what you can write. And second thing is lowering of boiler safety. Okay, now how the boiler safety will be reduced, how you are saying this? This is because since the scales are poor conductors, okay, poor thermal conductors, so therefore you just have to overheat the boiler material. Yes or no? Because we want to get the steam. Okay, so since here scales are already present inside the water, it is taking more time for the for a steam generation. Okay, so in this process, it is actually overheating the boiler material. Now, if you overheat the boiler material, what will happen over a period of time? It becomes soft and weak. Okay, and that in turn leads to the distortion of the boiler. Okay, after all, if boiler material becomes soft and weak, obviously you have the risk in the boiler safety. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then next thing is decrease in efficiency. Okay, and now the boiler efficiency come down because of the scale deposits in the valves and condensers of the boiler cause choking. Okay, so mostly these scales will get deposited in the valves and condensers, and that will result in the blockage of the pipe. So once the blockage of the pipe is happening, then that will again reduces the efficiency of the boiler. And finally, danger of explosion. Okay, so how, what are the conditions which would ultimately lead to the explosion of the boiler? See, what happens is when the scales are formed inside the boiler wall, that is the boiler plate, it will actually face higher temperature. Okay, so when you are talking about the formation of scales, these will get deposited where in the inner walls of the boiler. Okay, now since the temperature inside the temperature would be high, so now imagine that the boiler plate, okay, which is actually having high temperature, okay, faces high temperature outside and lesser temperature inside. Do you agree with this? The boiler plate, okay, will have higher temperature outside than inside. What is the reason for this? Scale deposits. Okay, because scales, as you know, these are the poor thermal conductors. So definitely inside the temperature of the boiler vessel will be less than the outside. Now what will happen because of the difference in the temperatures of the boiler vessel? It will actually lead to the uneven expansion. Okay, now because of this uneven expansion, when the water comes suddenly and it comes in contact with the overheated portion, larger amount of steam will be formed immediately, and this results in the development of high pressure. Okay, suddenly a huge amount of pressure will be produced, and this may cause explosion of the boiler. What I said, have you followed, girls? Have you understood what I said, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What are the four problems you can encounter with the scales formation? First thing is wastage of heat and fuels. Then second point is lowering of boiler safety. Then there is reduction in the efficiency of the boiler. And fourth point, the last point is the danger of explosion. Okay. Now finally, coming to the prevention of scales. Then how can you avoid the scales formation? How can you avoid the scale formation? That you can do it by opting for soft water, right? Soft water if you are using, definitely you can try to reduce the scale formation. Okay, even if the scales are formed, okay, that is one thing. And depending upon the nature of the scales, you have different treatments. Like if you have soft type of scales, these can be readily removed by using a scraper or a wire brush. Okay, like the one what we use for sludge removal. The same thing can be used even in the case of scale formation in case if they are soft type. Now, in the case of brittle type of scales. Okay, the scales, if they are brittle in nature, these can be given thermal shock treatments. Now what is this thermal shock treatment? This is nothing but the process wherein you are heating. Okay, you are heating the boiler suddenly and also cooling it suddenly. Okay, sudden heating and sudden cooling will make the scale brittle, and it can be removed by scrubbing with the wire brush. Okay, this is a process adopted for removal of scales by giving thermal shock treatment. And you can also remove the scales by adding chemicals. Okay, like for the removal of calcium carbonate scales, you require washings with 5 to 10% HCl. And in case if you have to remove the calcium sulfate scales, you just have to add EDTA solution. What is the purpose of adding EDTA solution here? In yesterday's class, we have learned how the EDTA is combining with either the calcium or magnesium present in the water, right? So that means the calcium ions or magnesium ions will be forming a complex with the EDTA, and that is uh, removed. Okay, that is later on removed. So that's how you can avoid the deposition of the scales. Okay, either in the form of calcium sulfate. Okay, in case of calcium carbonate, just by adding 5 to 10% of HCl, this can be removed. Okay. Any doubts still here? And of course, you have the blow down operation. Blow down operation also will work out. Any doubts still here?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now we'll go to the next topic. So next problem. See, girls, please do remember scales and sludges. If you go to the previous year's question papers, almost every time you can uh, get this question, girls. Okay, scales and sludges, that would be asked for essay type answer. So you have to mention first what are the reasons for the scales and sludge formation, then go for the description of scale sludges, then what are the reasons for the sludge formation, how can you prevent them, and what are the disadvantages with each of them. Okay, so your answer should be divided into three parts. Okay, so either for sludges or scale, you just have to divide into three parts and then you have to answer. So that will be a full length answer. It can be asked either for 10 marks or for 15 marks directly, because that is a lengthier question. Okay, so be thorough with this topic, scales and sludges. Then next, coming to the caustic embrittlement. What is caustic soda? What is caustic soda?
Baking soda.
Formula. What is its formula? What is the formula of caustic soda? Sodium carbonate, right? Na2CO3. Okay. Now, Na2CO3, Na2CO3 is nothing but the caustic soda. The presence of the sodium carbonate, okay, the presence of the sodium carbonate in the boiler shell will actually causes the caustic embrittlement. You might be wondering, like how the sodium carbonate will be let into the boiler feed water. Okay, like if you have to treat the water, you have different chemicals for treatment, right? I think you people are aware of this. So by treating the water with different chemicals, you can remove the permanent hardness. Temporary, you can just remove it by boiling, but the permanent hardness causing salts cannot be removed by simple boiling, but rather you require what? Addition of chemicals. In that process, you have a lime soda process. Okay, so there are various methods, what we call as external water treatment. One is the lime soda process. Now you can add lime and soda. So these are the chemicals what you are adding externally to the water. So there you have the addition of lime and soda. Now this soda is nothing but your caustic soda, sodium carbonate. Okay. Now these chemicals, when added to the water for the removal of hardness, if these are not added in calculated quantities, like you have a formula how much lime and how much soda you have to add to the given water sample, so that you can so that the hardness can be removed. In case if excess amount of these chemicals are added, what will happen? So how much ever the chemical is required for the treatment with the salts, that will be consumed, and later whatever is not consumed during the process will be left in the water without any like as it is. So likewise, when you have the sodium carbonate without being used up for the water treatment, like already the uh, salts have been reacted with sodium carbonate, but since here excess quantity of sodium carbonate is added to the water, so therefore this would actually cause the caustic embrittlement. Okay, am I clear, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
So always the chemicals, whatever you are adding to the water, must be known, like how much quantity you are adding, and you have a formula for the correct addition of the chemicals. Okay. So whatever is the leftover sodium carbonate, which is untreated for the lime soda process, that will actually enter into the boiler feed water. When it enters the boiler feed water under high temperatures and pressures, what will happen? Sodium carbonate reacts with the water. Sodium carbonate reacts with the water and gets decomposed as sodium hydroxide and carbon dioxide. Okay, so sodium hydroxide and carbon dioxide, these are the two products obtained by the decomposition of sodium carbonate. And these two are equally bad or equally harm to they cause equal harm to the boiler. How? Sodium hydroxide, this is the one which is actually making the boiler metal brittle. Okay, so sodium hydroxide concentration will slowly increase in the water, so and that will get deposited, and that makes the boiler water brittle. And apart from that, you also have carbon dioxide, right? So carbon dioxide is another drawback with the sodium carbonate. Okay, so carbon dioxide which is produced, this causes boiler corrosion. So in this way, both these products are causing harm to the boiler. Okay, now in detail we'll just see in detail, just we'll see how the sodium hydroxide is actually causing caustic embrittlement. Okay, so here you can see the sodium carbonate decomposes to give sodium hydroxide and carbon dioxide, because of which the boiler water becoming caustic soda. Okay, now when you have the presence of sodium hydroxide in the water, so the water along with the sodium hydroxide will get evaporate. Okay, will get evaporate on boiling. Now the concentration of sodium hydroxide will increase progressively. Okay, after some time, what will happen? The water will get evaporated. The water will not stay back, but it gets converted into steam. Now, what is left over? Sodium hydroxide is left over because this is produced in the water. Now, since it is left over and its concentration keeps on increasing. Okay, so its concentration increases progressively. And what does it do? It actually creates a concentration cell. Okay, that means like the regions where you have the regions of the boiler which we call as bends, joints, rivets, all these are the areas where you see high amount of the sodium hydroxide. There the concentration of sodium hydroxide is high because those are the regions, okay, where you have the deposition of excess amount of sodium hydroxide. So in those areas you can see the boiler material is reacting with the sodium hydroxide and it forms sodium ferroate, Na2FeO2. Okay, something like the sodium hydroxide is eating away the boiler material. Okay, so that is why we are calling it as a kind of corrosion, boiler corrosion. And this is nothing but due to what is this? How the boiler material is getting corroded? That is because of the formation of a sodium ferroate. Na2FeO2 is nothing but the sodium ferroate because of the deposition of this sodium hydroxide as this sodium ferroate. So this is actually causing the boiler corrosion, or the boiler material is becoming uh, brittle, so easily breakable. Something which is easily breakable would be called as the brittle in nature. Okay, now the same thing I can even explain in the form of the concentration cell corrosion. Okay, now here you can see left side you have anode and right side you have cathode. Okay, if you recollect your corrosion chapter, If you recollect your corrosion chapter, anything which is anode will be getting corroded and anything which is cathode will be protected. Similarly, here you can see the anodic regions like the bends, rivets, joints, all these regions of the iron material or the iron boiler, okay, these will experience high amount of the sodium hydroxide in these areas. So concentration of sodium hydroxide is very high in these areas, whereas the other regions of the boiler like the plane surfaces of the iron, okay, which is actually acting as cathode, here you can see a very dilute amount of sodium hydroxide solution getting deposited. So what will happen now? Which are those regions which are most affected with this caustic embrittlement? This is nothing but a kind of concentration cell. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you understood this process? Because this was an important question, girls. If you have not understood, please feel free to ask me. I'm going to explain it once again. Or otherwise, I have to ask you questions to test whether you people have not. What to do? Tell me. Caustic embrittlement means what? I didn't get an answer till now. Yes, girls. Caustic embrittlement means what now? The process or the phenomenon wherein the boiler material is becoming brittle because of the deposition of caustic substances. Now, which are those caustic substances? Sodium hydroxide. The sodium hydroxide, since its concentration is becoming high in the regions like you have bends, rivets, joints, okay, so or the crack are the regions where you can see the boiler parts becoming like you can see the cracks which are produced inside the boiler. So those regions are actually considered to be highly stressed areas, okay, because there you find high concentration of sodium hydroxide solution, whereas other regions like where you don't have the high amount of sodium hydroxide, those regions we just call as the plain surfaces, okay. So that is what about your caustic embrittlement. So how to avoid this? As you have seen, the concentration cell type of representation here. So anodic areas are the ones which are most affected. Okay, this is what we have studied, right? From the corrosion chapter, the anode one is the one which is getting affected, whereas the cathode is the one which is protected. Okay, so obviously the ion at the plane surface, since it is surrounded by the dilute sodium hydroxide, therefore it is becoming cathodic, and there the damage caused is less. Whereas the regions of the ion like you have rivets, joints. So there you can see high amount of sodium hydroxide because of which the damage is becoming cathodic, and this ultimately results in the uh, boiler trouble, what you call as the caustic embrittlement. Am I clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how can we avoid this? So, how do you prevent this? How do you prevent this? How sodium carbonate is introduced into the water? Because it has to be used as a softening agent, okay. In case of if you have a choice of using some other softening agent instead of sodium carbonate, that is a good solution for this. So usually instead of using sodium carbonate, It is the preferred reagent is sodium phosphate. The sodium phosphate is a better softening agent that is mostly used in the external treatment of boilers instead of sodium carbonate because that would result in the caustic embrittlement. Okay. Now, other ways by adding uh, organic substances like tannins, lignins, okay, and also even you can add sodium sulfate. So with the addition of these substances, like we were actually talking about the cracked areas inside the boiler. So those cracked areas will be blocked with the addition of these substances, and that actually prevents the infiltration of the caustic soda solution into those areas, and thus you can avoid the caustic embrittlement. So these are the ways by which you can prevent the caustic embrittlement. One thing is by using sodium phosphate as a softening agent instead of sodium carbonate. Then second reason is by adding tannins or lignins to the boiler water. So these will get accumulated in the cracks, and therefore you can prevent the formation of sodium hydroxide. And then third point is by adding sodium sulfate to the boiling water. That is also another way by which you can uh, block the cracks of the boiler. Okay. She'll ask you a few questions, girls. Let me know whether you have understood or not. Yes. Shall I ask you some questions, girls? How do you define the sludges? What are the sludge deposits? What are the sludge deposits? How do you define a sludge precipitate? How do you define sludge, girls? Nobody will answer this. Yes, girls.
And the deposit which is formed due to boiling hot water, ma'am.
That is fine, but I'm asking, how do you describe the sludge precipitate? Like there are two precipitates, sludges and scales, no? Sludges we have defined, no, in the beginning of the class.
It is
Are they
soft, loose,
hard?
and slimy.
Very good. Soft, loose, and slimy precipitates are nothing but your sludge deposits. How do you differentiate them from the scales?
Scales are hard and thick deposits, ma'am.
Very good. Scales are hard, thick deposits which tightly adhere to the inner walls of the boiler. But whereas sludge deposits, these are actually soft, loose, slimy precipitates. Okay, which can be removed by, how can you remove them? How can you remove them? By using a scraper, wire brush, or by, how can you avoid the precipitates? Yes. Yes, ma'am. By using soft water, by using blow down operation, everything you forgot. So nobody is paying attention while the class is going on. This is what I have understood. Just now we have discussed and nobody is able to answer. What happened, girls? Is the class boring, girls? Is the class boring? Let me know. Like if I have to do any Anyway, just give me some suggestions. Otherwise, if I'm really making you people bore about the class. Yeah, one last question, girls. How will you avoid the scale deposits? How can you avoid the scale deposits?
Blow down operation.
Okay, then
You can remove it with a scraper or a brush.
okay, very good. Then next, how about the removal of calcium sulfate scales by adding what? By adding
5 to 10%
Softening
of
agent.
HCl.
sorry, by adding
EDTA only.
excellent calcium sulfate scales by adding EDTA, calcium carbonate scales by
5 to
adding
10% of
dilute
HCl.
HCl.
I did
5
it.
to 10%, 5 to 10% dilute HCl. How about caustic embrittlement? How can you avoid this?
By adding sodium phosphate.
By adding some.
Yeah, by adding sodium phosphate as a softening reagent instead of sodium carbonate, because sodium carbonate on decomposition gives what? Under high pressures and high temperatures, sodium carbonate will form sodium
Hydroxide.
equation,
Hydro.
hydroxide and what else? And carbon
Carbon
dioxide, sodium hydroxide,
dioxide.
carbon dioxide. Very, very important equation, right? So these two are again causing harm to the boiler material. That is why you are trying to avoid the usage of sodium carbonate as a softening agent. Okay. So can somebody just give me the representation of a concentration cell for the caustic embrittlement? Concentration cell. How do you write? Left side? For any cell, what do you write on the left side?
Anode.
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 Okay. And right side, you have cathode. Now, which are the anodic areas here?
Concentrated energy.
Which are the areas of boiler which we call as anodic areas? Bends, joints, rivets, cracks, all those will be considered as the anodic areas where you can see high concentration of sodium hydroxide. And right side, you are going to show iron at plane surfaces. And these are the regions where you can see dilute NaOH concentration. Okay, so anodic areas are corroded or they are more here the boiler material is becoming brittle because of the formation of sodium ferroate. And this is an important point, sodium ferroate. That means the boiler material is becoming brittle because of the formation of this corrosion product. If I have to tell you in terms of corrosion, then this would be called as a corrosion product, sodium ferroate. Okay, so how can you avoid? Already we have seen one thing is by using sodium phosphate, and also you can add some organic substances like tannins, lignins. These will
Tannin.
actually, yeah, these will actually block the cracks in the boiler material and thus prevents the infiltration of these caustic substances into these areas. Okay, and another chemical is by adding sodium sulfate. Sodium sulfate is also used at the same purpose what the organic substances will do. Okay, okay, girls, then we'll just stop the class today. And the absentees today are 31, 32, 34, 38, 40, 41, 45, 49, 52, 54. Did I miss any number?